For centuries, women have been told that their suffering is holy, that God desires their submission even at the cost of their lives, that their purpose is to serve, endure, obey, and sacrifice, no matter how much it destroys them. But let me ask you something. Who benefits from this lie? How many women have stayed in abusive marriages, toxic relationships, and oppressive religious systems because they were told it was their divine duty? How many have been silenced, erased, beaten, raped, and murdered while the church stood by protecting the abusers? Enough is enough. The matriarch has returned. The divine feminine is rising, and today we're exposing the ugly truth behind religion and how religion has been used as a weapon to keep women enslaved to patriarchy and abuse. Now, fair warning, this is going to be raw, unfiltered, uncut, and necessary. So if you're ready to break free from the mental, emotional, and spiritual chains that have been placed on women for generations, keep watching. Peace, love, and life for watching. I am Chief Apostle Veronica Yisrael, High Priestess and Global Spiritual Leader and founder of the Soul Awakening Sanctuary Movement. And I'm the host of the Sankofa Sessions Podcast. I'm a teacher of universal laws, ancestral wisdom, and African cosmology, dedicated to deconstructing and decolonizing the mind, breaking religious bondage, and awakening divine consciousness in humanity. With years of experience across various faith traditions and spiritual communities, my mission is to empower, enlighten, and liberate those that are ready to reclaim their divine power and walk in truth. The matriarch has indeed returned, and I am here to help lead the way. So let's get into today's episode. So let's start with the foundation of the lie. For centuries, religion has been used as a tool of control, and one of its most devastating deceptions has been convincing women that obedience and suffering are their spiritual calling. The church has taught that women were created as man's helper, not his equal. A wife must submit no matter what. Divorce is a sin even in cases of abuse. A man is the head of the household and a woman must obey. Now, where did this come from, you may ask? It came from a male-dominated system that twisted scripture and spiritual teachings that justify the oppression of women. They mistranslated, misused, and manipulated texts like, "Wives, submit to your husbands," Ephesians 5:22. "The husband is the head of the wife," Ephesians 5:23. "A woman should learn in silence," their favorite, 1 Timothy 2:11 and 12. But here's the truth. These passages were never meant to enslave women. They were used as weapons by men in power to create a patriarchal system that keeps women in a position of service and suffering. And the result? Generations of women were taught to stay, endure, and pray through abuse because the church said so. Now let's talk about the ugly reality of how the church has shielded abusive men. How many pastors have told women to submit and obey instead of leave and survive? Think about that. How many church leaders have covered up domestic abuse, sexual assault, and even murder just to protect their own and their own interests? Now, we've seen it time in and time again. Bishops, priests, pastors, and men of God abusing women and children while the church covers it up. Wives told to stay with their abusive husbands because divorce is a sin. Single mothers shamed, but predatory men welcomed with open arms. See, something's wrong with that. See, the message is clear. Patriarchy, power, and control matter more than these women's lives. And for far too long, women have suffered in silence because they've been conditioned to believe that leaving, fighting back, or speaking out is rebellion against God. But let me tell you something, beloved. God, the infinite source, the divine, God by all names known, never ordained your oppression. Man did. Now let's talk about the shift that's actually happening right now. The church is in decline. This is no secret. Attendance is plummeting. Fewer people are sitting in the pews. And why? Because women, the backbone of the church in the religious culture, are waking up. For centuries, women have funded, supported, and sustained religious institutions, even when these same institutions treated them as second-class citizens. But guess what? Now, women are walking away. They're wising up. They're returning to themselves. My sisters everywhere are waking up. And women are now rejecting toxic theology that keeps them bound, male-dominated institutions that devalue them, and the idea that suffering is their divine calling. We are witnessing a spiritual exodus, a return to the divine feminine. The divine mother is calling her daughters to return back to her, and we are seeing this happen right before our eyes. Women are really realizing that they don't have to suffer for love. Love should not be causing pain. They don't have to obey men who harm them. They don't have to shrink themselves to fit into patriarchal systems. And let me tell you something. This is why they fear us. Because a woman who knows her power is a woman they can't control. And that is dangerous to the system of oppression and patriarchy. So the question is, what do we do now? Step 1, hold men accountable. Stop excusing, protecting, and enabling abusive men. Whether it be religious leaders, fathers, husbands, and partners, they all must be called out onto the red carpet and held responsible for their actions. Step 2, stop supporting institutions that keep women in bondage. If your church protects predators, leave. If your pastor tells women to stay and submit, walk away. It's time to make a move. Step 3, reclaim your divine power. Reconnect with your spiritual authority and ancestral wisdom. Learn the true history of the divine feminine. Surround yourself with women who are also awakening. Because let me tell you this, matriarchal wisdom is returning. The old systems are crumbling and women are no longer accepting oppression as their fate. The matriarch has indeed returned, and it's time for her daughters to align. If this message has resonated with you and spoke to your soul and spirit, share this episode. If you have seen or experienced how religion has been weaponized against women, I want you to comment below and talk about your experience. Let's engage in this together. And most importantly, I want you to be the change. Stand in your power, reject oppression, and speak out. No longer suffer in silence, because we are not going back. The days of women suffering in silence is over. The matriarch has indeed returned. And this has been another impactful and powerful episode of the Sankofa Sessions Podcast with your host, Chief Apostle Veronica Yisrael. And always remember that you are powerful, you are creative, and you are the epitome of the divine consciousness that created the universe. You are God in flesh having a human experience. Never let anyone, any ideology, or any philosophy tell you otherwise. And always remember this, that I love each and every one of you. And until next time, peace be with you. Let's make the truth go viral. So please engage with this video. Support the cause. Peace be with you.